Good afternoon, everyone. करंट अफेयर्स के बाद इतना अटेंडेंस कैसे बढ़ गया? ये खाली है कुर्सियां बात नीचे. Trans Himalayas, volcanic origin, Tibetan plateau था which has been uplifted up. It was already a plateau, but due to the uplifting of the crust, nothing to do with the volcanic eruption. Tibetan plateau is the highest plateau in the world. Why it has been formed? Because of the uplifting of the crust here.
Sir, we call the peninsular plateau as one of the highest or like
Peninsular plateau as highest कोई नहीं है. Peninsular plateau is the normal. Peninsular plateau is the largest landmass in India, not in the world. सिर्फ इंडिया में 3 parts है: Himalayas, Great Plains and the Peninsular Plateau. So Peninsular Plateau is the biggest landmass in India. That's it. Because एक प्लेट सबडक्ट हो जाएगा. हाँ, तो सिमिलर डेंसिटीज के है, इसलिए द कॉन्टिनेंट के केस में the density is less. Because density is less, gravitational pull is not enough. Density और mass के ऊपर gravitational pull will depend. Gravitational pull is not enough to pull that. इतनी कम density है कि that the continental plate is not pulled inside the mantle because density कम है. Density same से लेना देना नहीं उसका, density कम है. On other hand, oceanic crust जो है, it is of a greater density. See 3 grams per centimeter cube means 2 का डिफरेंस है 2.8 एंड पर सेंटीमीटर क्यूब. अब सेंटीमीटर क्यूब वहाँ पे इट बिकम्स माइल्स, थाउजेंड्स ऑफ माइल्स. सो द ग्रेविटी इतना ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है दैट इट इज पुल्ड इनसाइड द मैंटल एंड देयरफॉर कोई भी ओशनिक क्रस्ट विल सबडक्ट. नन ऑफ द कॉन्टिनेंटल क्रस्ट विल सबडक्ट बिकॉज द ग्रेविटी इज लेस. फाइंड दिस. हमेशा मैग्मा विल सॉलिडिफाई. If anything will cool, it will solidify. If anything is in the liquid format, it will be in the mold. That means it is बहुत ज़्यादा गर्म, hot. Then it will come in the form of lava. Yes. Magma अगर solidify हो गया तो rocks. कोई भी rocks, कोई भी solid structure. You are reading which book? तो नोट्स में से वी आर नाउ डूइंग आवर ओन नोट्स. इंडो टिबेटियन सुचर जोन बाद में जब इंडियन ज्योग्राफी आएगा वी विल हैव टू गो बाय अ प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट. कुछ भी ऐसे नहीं इंडो टिबेटियन सुचर जोन और सब विल हैव टू गो बाय अ प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट. वो इंडियन ज्योग्राफी के समय है इंडो टिबेटियन सुचर जोन, अभी नहीं. एंड वो नोट्स जीएस के लिए है या नेट से कहीं से उठाए हैं. तो इंडो टिबेटियन सुचर जोन इफ यू लुक एट द पास्ट ईयर क्वेश्चंस कभी जीएस में नहीं पूछा है और नहीं पूछेंगे भी बिकॉज इट इज एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ एन देयर इन द हिमालयाज देयर आर बिग 3 फॉल्ट्स. एक फॉल्ट है इंडो टिबेटियन सुचर जोन, दूसरा है मेन सेंट्रल थ्रस्ट, तीसरा है मेन बाउंड्री फॉल्ट, चौथा है हिमालयन फ्रंटल फॉल्ट. बट ये ऑप्शनल के काम के, जीएस में ये नहीं पूछते. सो इंडो टिबेटियन सुचर जोन अभी नहीं, दैट विल कम वाइल डूइंग द इंडियन ज्योग्राफी. एनी अदर डाउट्स? ये फॉल्ट्स है. We have done faults, we have not done faults. So wait for the faults to happen. Anything else? We'll cover all the things: faults, plains, plateaus, etc. So, but it will occur as per the speed of a class. We're taking into consideration each and every one का level. इसमें से कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे होंगे जिनका ज्योग्राफी स्ट्रांग है, कुछ ऐसे होंगे जिनका पॉलिटी स्ट्रांग है. बट वी विल हैव टू टेक द केयर ऑफ एंटायर क्लास, नॉट ऑफ अ. एंड देयर आर मोर देन स्टूडेंट्स सिटिंग इन द क्लासरूम. देयर आर अराउंड 200 स्टूडेंट्स हु आर वाचिंग ऑनलाइन आल्सो राइट नाउ. सो वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ देम आल्सो. So we'll come to the, that is what is known as, we were doing what? We were doing the ocean convergence. While doing the ocean convergence, while we were doing we did the ocean convergence में both the plates being of the oceanic crust. They are of a greater density, they will collide. Because of collision, one plate will go below the mantle, and after going below the mantle, it will melt and give rise to the mountains. But this mountains will be an example of an submarine mountains. But since these mountains are submarine mountains, that is, they are below the water, and since it is an oceanic crust, it will subduct. After subduction, it will melt, and melting ke baad there will be volcanic eruptions. This volcanic eruptions, when the magma or lava will come out on the surface of the earth, below the ocean floor, ऊपर पानी है इसलिए it will cool. Cooling results into solidification, and this solidification will result into formation of an submarine mountains. Sometimes itna zyada volcanic eruption that this submarine mountains may be projected on the surface of the earth. That is, पानी के ऊपर आ जाएगा उनका, and we will call this submarine mountains as island arcs. Islands नहीं, as island arcs. Islands can be anything. The island arcs are also known as festoons, or they are also known as archipelagos. And therefore, we say any island arc is isostatically unstable. I have introduced the word yesterday, isostatic in equilibrium. So, isostatically unstable matlab there is a continuous the plate movements below this in the regions. So, as a result of this, हम देखते हैं कि यहाँ पे there is an earthquake, यहाँ पे there are volcanoes, and यहाँ पे there are the islands which are arc-like in shape. Why arc-like in shape? Because the plate tectonics is associated with pushing, and जब भी anything is pushed, जो weaker parts है, if I push this part, जो weaker part है यहाँ का, if this board is made up of different densities, यहाँ पे ये नहीं है board, but earth is made up of different densities. So जो part which is pushed, वहाँ पे that part may go inside or may project outside, and hence हमेशा the fold mountains which we call as continental arcs या island arcs are convexo-concave or arc-like in shape. They are arc-like in shape. So the first example we did was the Japan island arc. It was formed due to the Asiatic plate along with the Pacific plate, and नीचे का part is due to the Philippines plate. Now the second region we did was the Caribbean island arc region, which was formed due to a small plate known as an Caribbean plate. This Caribbean plate के नीचे the oceanic part of the North American plate is subducting, resulting into formation of a deepest trench in that part, what is known as an Puerto Rico trench, or it is also known as later on as an Nares trench. The third part is the Philippines region, and very simple, Philippines island arc. Philippines में we have Mindanao trench, and Philippines में we have the Marina trench, Philippines के आसपास. And the fourth part is the Indonesian island arc region, that is the give me a minute. सब लोग अभी तक आगे सर आगे अच्छा अच्छा So we have an Indonesian island arc region. Now what is this Indonesian island arc? Just look here at the diagram. India, then we have this country that is the Burma, then the South China Sea wala region, then we have Indonesia, we have Java, we have Sumatra, we have Java, एक जो island जो news में है that is Lombok, then we have the island that is a Borneo, and this region, remember, is one of the tectonically most unstable region of the world. Why tectonically most unstable? Because यहाँ पे we find the plate is Indian plate. We find the other plate is the Pacific plate. We find the third plate is the Asian plate. Asian plate यहाँ तक आ रहा है. And the fourth plate in this region is the Burmese plate. So this region is Why it is so dangerous for tsunamis, volcanoes, earthquakes? Because the first thing is it is a tri-junction of three major plates in the world. Three major plates, that is the Indo-Australian plate, Pacific plate and Eurasian plate, along with one minor plate, that is the Burmese plate. And if any of the plate moves, it will result into earthquakes or volcanoes. And if the earthquakes are much, much powerful, greater than 8.2 magnitude on the Richter scale, that is the amount of energy which is released. हम बाद में करेंगे this Richter scale and the, which is the other scale? There are two scales for the Mercalli scale. Mercalli scale and the Richter scale, these are the two scales. So we'll do that later on, what is the difference between these two scales. But there will be volcanoes and earthquakes in this region. And if the earthquake is too much powerful, and if it occurs due to some reasons below the water, यहाँ पे the water will be thrown in different directions. And when the water is thrown in different direction, waves with great intensity will come and hit India also and also this part of the world. But अगर हम इंडिया की बात करते हैं, because we are more concerned about India, you should know why the eastern coast of India is more prone to tsunamis in this region. Western coast में we do not have a problem of tsunami because western coast is not associated, यहाँ पे कोई भी convergent plate boundary नहीं है. But eastern coast is very very near to the convergent plate boundary, and उसमें से कौन सा? The nearest part is the Andaman and Nicobar Island are. So if you know the general knowledge वाला question, that which is the southernmost point of India? Indira Point. आज भी हम कहते हैं Indira Point is the southernmost point, but is it really there? No, it has been destroyed by tsunami. Why? Because this is the point जहाँ से tsunami will generate. So we should know why the prelims के लिए और mains के लिए भी, why the eastern coast of India is more prone to the tsunamis. Why? Because it is much nearer to the tri-junction of this plate, or it is much nearer to the Sunda Strait region. Sunda Strait हमने किया था, or Sunda Trench region. This is very near to the Sunda Trench region, and I already told you, यहाँ पे not dangerous, but the most powerful volcano in the world is there. That is Mount Krakatoa, and it is why it is not that dangerous, because यहाँ से death कम होगी exactly on the island, because it is below the water. It will not give as much as fire as compared to the Mount Peely, but it gives much of a flames, and it gives out large amount of energy. See, remember, islands को destroy कर सकते हो, and this is what is the force that is given out. So therefore, tsunamis are very very common in this region. Why the Indonesian island arc? Coming to the main question, the Indonesian island arc, because the larger Pacific plate जो है यहाँ पे, it is going below Asian plate as well as which plate? The Indian plate. And the point where it is going below the Indian plate, we have the deepest trench of an Indian Ocean, what is known as a Java Trench or the Sunda Trench. What is it? It is a point of subduction of the Pacific plate below the Indian plate. क्यों सुनामी हुआ था 2004 इंडियन ओशन सुनामी? इट इज बिकॉज इंडियन प्लेट जो है वो भी अनस्टेबल है. इट वेंट बिलो द स्मॉलर बर्मीज प्लेट, बहुत ज़्यादा. इट वेंट बिलो बाय 20 सेंटीमीटर्स, 20 to 40 centimeters, and 20 to 40 centimeters is a big displacement for the a large plate. अगर if a plate is suddenly going below, then obviously the waters will be thrown in all the sides, and as a result it will cause large scale displacement of the plates. Understanding this? So this is what is an Indonesian island arc region. So take down some of the points. Any doubts, Abhi? By the movements. If you want to know, page number 119, there are different connotations given. That is, convergent plate boundary is shown by triangles. A divergent plate boundary is shown by a single line. And there is a transform plate boundary which is again shown by a different this thing. But if you want to understand in the simple words कि कहाँ पे है, जहाँ जहाँ fold mountains है, convergent plate boundary. जहाँ पे mid oceanic ridges है divergent plate boundary, because volcanoes and earthquakes will be common in all these three regions. Fine with this? So the Indonesian island arc, the Indonesian region, the Indonesian region is tectonically unstable, because it is a trijunction of three major plates. It is a trijunction of three major plates. That is the Indo-Australian plate, Pacific plate, and the Asian plate. In case if you are reading on the net, this part of an Asian plate is known as an Sunda plate. So, in case if you like searching, but remember, जितना हम कर रहे GS में उसके बाहर जाएगा नहीं geography, and that is my experience from last 7 years. Geography does not go outside whether it is prelims or mains. In fact, ये भी question covered था latitudes वाला. If you had attended my prelims का lectures, so that even question was covered, Delhi and Bangalore वाला latitudes का. So first focus of yours should be what I teach in the class. Second focus of yours should be after we do what we teach in the class, NCERT पढ़ लो वो specific chapters. या before you come to the class, NCERT के ही order में हम जा रहे हैं. So come and read that part of NCERT and come to the class. It will be easy for you to understand. बाकी कुछ ज़रूरत नहीं है. जिसलिए की भी I told you in the first class कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. Because physical geography ये जो हम core area कर रहे हैं इसमें से आएंगे 5-6 questions maximum. Climate वो सब मिला के in the main examination. बाकी के questions will be applied in nature. And if you spend too much time on the physical geography, वो cost benefit analysis is less. Geomorphology anyways will require around 10-15 lectures. So we will do in detail the entire geomorphology. After that you do not have to do. NCERT also I told you इसलिए पढ़ो कि एक दिमाग से निकल जाएगा कि मेरी NCERT होना बाकी है. वैसे NCERT is useless for this part. बहुत ही brief में है and it is too technical. The simple things have been अभी quake foci दिया है. Students come and ask what is quake foci. Quake foci is nothing but focus of an earthquake. So they have made that very, very technical. Rocks में they have given you a mechanical properties. Feldspar से क्या होता है, इससे क्या होता है, quartzite से क्या होता है. We are not doing to that level. We do not have geology in our syllabus of GS. We have geography in the syllabus of GS. When you do the feldspar, minerals, etc., that is geology. That is not geography. And UPSC does not go beyond the syllabus.
So can we totally rely on class notes?
Yeah, you can totally rely on the class notes. For geography, yes, I told you on the first day that you can totally rely on the class notes along with map. जो मैं कराता हूँ. If you are facing problem in map, make a separate booklet for map, a patla register, and such of the map pointings you can go home and make it there and revise it. For example, we'll be doing lot of map pointing today. So you go home, atlas में से revise करो और वो फिर से बनाओ किसी और book में. And that book should be a revision book before the examination. But I will like कि you follow the atlas इसलिए because directly आप कभी पढ़ोगे नहीं. But when you study the atlas, such questions कि latitudes पे कौन सा है city या कौन सी city ऊपर नीचे है, ये बार बार देखने से आपके mind में आ जाता है. And when you go to the exam hall, when you see the options, directly आपको sure नहीं होगा, because that is not fill in the blanks. But वहाँ पे options दिया होगा. Options देख के आपको याद आ जाता है, yes, शायद ये है. You take a chance, and that question becomes right. But that will come only if you keep on revising it again and again. Direct revision नहीं. You are looking at the map of India. Map of India में देख के पता चला कि हाँ सरप्राइजिंगली कि चेन्नई बैंगलोर के नॉर्थ में है. हमें लगता है कि चेन्नई इज टू द साउथ, बट चेन्नई इज टू द नॉर्थ एंड बैंगलोर इज मोर टू द साउथ. सो ये कहीं तो दिमाग में आ गया. एंड दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस विल कम इन द एग्जामिनेशन. वी आर लुकिंग एट द मेजर नेशनल पार्क्स. उसके आसपास की सिटीज़ नज़र के अंदर आ जाती है. एंड देन यू व्हेन इट कम्स टू द क्वेश्चन एग्जाम यू कैन ईजिली फोकस दैट. सो ये फ़ायदा होता है एटलस करने का. दैट इज़ यू डू द अदर एरियाज ऑल्सो इन द एटलस. और सो डिफ़िकल्ट है, गो होम एंड प्रैक्टिस इट. सो वंस यू प्रैक्टिस कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा इन द एग्जामिनेशन. सो coming to here, that is, you should know that it is also known as Sunda Strait. Wikipedia pe the information is wrong. Wikipedia says that this area is formed due to the interaction of the Pacific plate with the Asian plate. No, it is a interaction that is formed due to the Pacific plate, Asian plate and the Indian plate. Next, there is a presence of minor Burmese plate in this region. There is a presence of minor Burmese plate in this region. Burmese plate in this region. Next point. The Indonesian island arc. The Indonesian island arc consists of numerous islands, out of which the major islands are Sumatra, Java, Bali, Borneo. We'll look at this island. And एक आजकल current affairs में, इसलिए I am doing this. It is Lombok. This is the Lombok. Sumatra, Java, Bali, Lombok and Borneo. These are the major islands. But remember, यहाँ पे 108 से ज़्यादा islands है यहाँ पे. So we should not do all the 108 properly. These 4 are more than enough. So therefore we say Indonesia is the largest island arc in the world. Not island. Largest island in the world is Greenland. But this is the largest archipelago in the world. That is what is known as an island arc. अंडमान्स का क्या हुआ? अंडमान्स का एरिया इज वेरी वेरी स्मॉल. अंडमान्स का एरिया इज वेरी स्मॉल एंड इनका एरिया इज वेरी बिग. दिस एंटायर वन सुमात्रा इज ऑल द एंटायर अंडमान एंड निकोबार आइलैंड्स. लक्षद्वीप, नाम लक्षद्वीप मीन्स लक्ष मीन्स वन, द्वीप मीन्स आइलैंड. सो लक्षद्वीप मतलब 1 lakh आइलैंड. But reality is only 25 island. So don't go by the Indian names. Okay. So Lakshadweep means 1 lakh island, but nahi, वो है 25 island. So it is one of the tiniest islands in the region. And tiny इतना कि the largest island of Lakshadweep is 3.2 square kilometers. मतलब even smaller than Rajendra Nagar. The largest island of Lakshadweep is even smaller than this Rajendra Nagar area. Only 3.2 square kilometers. So largest island arc is this Indonesia wala region. Next, it is an example of ocean collision. It is an example of ocean collision. It is an example of ocean collision where the Pacific plate subducts, the Pacific plate subducts below the Asian and Indian plate, below the Asian and Indian plate, subducts below the Asian and Indian plate, subducts below the Asian and Indian plate, and hence we have numerous volcanoes and earthquakes, and hence we have numerous volcanoes and earthquakes. Next point, the deepest point of Indian Ocean, the deepest point of Indian Ocean, the deepest point of Indian Ocean, that is Java or Sunda Trench, Java or Sunda Trench, Java or Sunda Trench. Is where the Pacific plate goes below the Indian plate. Is where the Pacific plate goes below the Indian plate. Java or Sunda Trench is where the Pacific plate goes below the Indian plate. Pacific plate goes below the Indian plate. As this part is closer to the eastern coast of India, as this part is closer to the eastern coast of India, as this part is closer to the eastern coast of India, therefore the eastern coast of India is more prone to tsunamis. Therefore, eastern coast of India is prone to tsunamis. For eastern coast of India is prone to tsunami. And we have done yesterday, which is the most important mountain in this region, Krakatau ya Krakatoa. That is the most important mountain in this region. So these are all about the major island arcs. Now let us look at the map-based question from this region, because Mediterranean Sea, West Asia, and yes, Southeast Asia is the favorite area of UPSC. So you can remember some of the map-based question from this region. So open the map of Southeast Asia. Which is this country? This is Philippines. First looking at the physical characteristics. Can I say this is the region jahan se equator is passing? So this is the region jahan se the equator is passing. What are the Can you see the equator properly? Now what are the countries in this region? Let us look, this is the northeast India. This part of India is the northeast. Then this country here is the Bangladesh. Then the country here is Myanmar. Uske baad we have Thailand. So Myanmar and Thailand ki boundary you can see, and uske baad we have here Malaysia. Malaysia dikha? Then we have a small country in this region, what is known as Singapore. So this country here is Malaysia. Then we have Indonesia in this region. So हमारे map में we are going to remember the major countries. वो South Asia, Southeast Asia mainland, Southeast Asia नहीं करेंगे हम अभी. We are just going to remember Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Philippines and Brunei. Now before I go, Myanmar is in the news for which people? Rohingyas. Rohingyas. कहाँ पे है problem of Rohingyas? Rakhine State. So कहाँ पे है Rakhine State? Can you see यहाँ पे Arakan Yoma mountains? So this, remember, is the Rakhine State of Myanmar. जहाँ पे Arakan Yoma mountains है, that is an Rakhine State of Myanmar. ऊपर ही दिखेगा आपको, और you will see Myanmar ऊपर, or you can see even in the previous map of Myanmar. एक you can see in the map of Myanmar you have an Rakhine State. हम फिर से आएंगे इसको in the Indian geography because we have one major port here, that is what is known as an Sitwe port. What is Government of India का proposal? That is the Kaladan multi-modal transit project that we have made यहाँ पे a port known as Sitwe port. Now when we do this countries, Indonesia, let us look at where the Indonesia is. I am marking Indonesia by black color ka points. So this is Indonesia, Sumatra, this is Indonesia, Java, this is Indonesia, Bali, and this is also Indonesia. So if I want to draw the boundary of Indonesia, look at the boundary of Indonesia. So even some part of Borneo is Indonesia. Some part of Borneo is Indonesia. Now I'm marking Malaysia by red color. This is Malaysia. Even this is Malaysia. Getting it? Even this part is the Malaysia. And so bachi hui country in this region is the Brunei. So can I say the island of Borneo is shared by 3 countries? What are the 3 countries? Indonesia, Malaysia and Brunei. Indonesia, Malaysia and Brunei. This is the island. This is the island of Borneo. They are shared by 3 countries, Indonesia, Malaysia and Brunei. Now coming back to the main question. Equator passes through Borneo. These are the regions of the world we will do in climatology which are known as the equatorial regions of the world. Equatorial regions of the world are found in the latitudes from 0 to 5 degree north and 0 to 5 degree south. Yeah, sometimes even between 0 to 10 degree north and 10 degree south. क्या खासियत है इक्वेटोरियल रीजन की? बारिश वहां पे रोज होती है. देयर इज अ एवरीडे रेनफॉल, एंड बिकॉज देयर इज एन एवरीडे रेनफॉल, दिस आर द मोस्ट डेंसली फॉरेस्टेड रीजन्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, जहां पे द फॉरेस्ट इज रेन फॉरेस्ट एंड द फॉरेस्ट इज एवरग्रीन फॉरेस्ट, ट्रॉपिकल एवरग्रीन फॉरेस्ट. एडेप्टेशन है, विल कम टू दैट एडेप्टेशन लेटर ऑन. हमारे यहाँ पे बारिश सिर्फ 6 महीने होती है, सो दैट इज द 6 months इज ड्राई. सो द ट्रीज विल हैव टू कंजर्व द मॉइस्चर. And because the trees will have to conserve the moisture, from where the trees lose the moisture? Leaves. Therefore, the trees will start shedding their leaves and we will call India ka forest as deciduous forest. Deciduous मतलब पतझड़. On other hand, जहाँ पे very heavy snowfall है, the trees may die because of frost bite. Because frost bite is when the snow accumulates on the leaves, and therefore the trees in the higher latitudes are adapted to such an case कि वहाँ से even if there is a snow, the snow should slide down. And we will call this forest as an coniferous forest. This is all an adaptation to the surrounding regions. Coniferous forest, if there is a heavy snowfall, the leaves are flexible. Christmas tree ka leaves branches dekhe, they are flexible, they will slide down. Jaise they will slide down, the snow will slide down. Individual leaf dekho, Christmas tree ka, it is thick and pointed. Why thick and pointed? Because the direction is that snow should slide down. This is adaptation. If you go to the coastal regions, can I say this is how the trees are? Coconut trees, palm trees, yeah, in the desert region. Why is it so? So that the least area is exposed to the wind. अगर ये बड़े हैं trees like the trees we have find in this region, so ये एक दिन में गिर जाएंगे. Why? Because the leaf will be providing resistance to the winds. Now यहाँ पे because they are tall, they will bend, but they will not fall down. This is all adaptation. ये जो मैंने कहा था survival of the fittest. This is an example of an survival of the fittest. You have to adapt to the surrounding nature. Now यहाँ पे we find tropical evergreen forest. But अगर कल question आता है, equatorial regions, yes, we'll again come to this in biomes. This is, you will understand the equatorial regions in the biomes. But if कल question आता है regarding the equator किस country से जाता है, you will be surprised to see that equator passes through Sumatra, equator passes to Borneo, but दोनों part है Indonesia का. So note down that equator in this region passes only through Indonesia. Equator in this region passes only through the Indonesia region. Equator passes only through Indonesia. Now coming back to Indonesia, which is the largest island of Indonesia? Borneo या Sumatra? Sumatra. अगर कल question आता है, which is the largest island of this region out of all four? Then the answer is Borneo. क्यों? Size से it is bigger, but only some part is Indonesia, some part is Malaysia, and some part is Brunei. So question मैंने specifically पूछा है, which is the largest island of Indonesia, and therefore the answer is Sumatra. Sumatra is the largest island of Indonesia. What is the capital of Indonesia? Jakarta. Where it is located? It is located on Java. So you can see Jakarta is located on Java. It is located on Java. अब you tell me with the basics you know, ये islands granite से बने होंगे या they will be an example of an basaltic island. What will be this? This all islands are basaltic islands, and therefore we will see that Java is the most densely populated island in the world. क्यों? Because basalt is मतलब fertile soil. Basalt is famous for fertile soil, black soil, and therefore Java is the most densely populated island in the world. Now can you see Jakarta? What is the other surprising thing in Jakarta कि Indonesia, though we consider Asian country है, Asia means the countries of northern hemisphere, right? And Jakarta, though Asia means the countries of northern hemisphere, Indonesia ka capital Jakarta is in the southern hemisphere. Can you see this? Jakarta के just नीचे, especially आप when you will come to the international relation, वहाँ पे ये city आप करोगे what is known as Bandung, and it is famous for Bandung Conference. Why Bandung Conference? No, non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement started in the Bandung conference. So you should just know that where is the Bandung. Non-aligned movement, you know that it is an area of, कौन तीन थे लोग non-aligned movement में? जवाहरलाल नेहरू, Tito, and the Egyptian president, क्या था नाम? नासिर हुसैन. Then ये जीके है, ये पता होना चाहिए. So this is your homework, though not my subject, but this is GK and these questions can come. So who are the three people? Egyptian president, one is the General Tito, and one is Jawaharlal Nehru. So do this and कहीं तो note करना GK के इसमें, because we see that हर साल prelims में 3-4 GK questions भी आते हैं. So yes, Mohammad Nasir. So do this properly. You can go home and search करना कि who are the founding members of non-aligned movement. पिछले साल ऐसे आ चुका है non-aligned movement पे.
So Borneo is the largest island in the southeastern Pacific.
Yes, out of all this 4. What is the doubt? किसी ने?
So does this region lie in One Belt One Road initiative of China?
Yes.
So could you throw some light on that?
No, international relation not now. Not now. CPEC is there, Transatlantic Partnership is there, ASEAN is there, East Asia, Look East Asia, Act Asia policy, ये सब important है. But no, I will not throw a light. Someone else will do that. So, or you will have to attend GS crash course for mains. So, not here in the foundation batch. So, fine with this region. And then we have a Bali. Bali Island is famous for tourism activities. Bali is mostly famous for tourism activities. And can you see between Jakarta and Sumatra there is a famous strait what is known as an Sunda Strait. So कभी-कभी indirect question आते हैं like 2016 examination, 2017 exam, not 2018. उन्होंने पूछा था why, because Sunda Strait क्यों? Because the name of Indonesia is Sunda land. So the question was which islands of India is closest to Sunda land? Applied question hai with checking your general knowledge etc. One option was Andaman, the other option was Nicobar. The third option was Lakshadweep. So which is nearest to the Sunda land? Nicobar Island. Very simple question it is. That is, it is very very near to the Sunda land. And वैसे भी हम environment में करेंगे that Andaman and Nicobar Islands are in part of Sunda land biodiversity hotspot. They are not in part of Indian biodiversity hotspot. So this is the Sunda Strait region and you can see वहाँ पे dark blue color की line, that is the Sunda Strait. Sorry, Sunda Trench or Javan Trench. You can see here there is a dark blue color ka line. I told you how to identify the trenches. The comparatively the color will be darker shade of blue. So that is an Sunda Trench region. It is given there as an Java Trench also or the Sunda Trench also. Got it? Now come and cross the equator and the first country, एक तो Strait of Malacca उसी दिन हमने किया, and the first country we will see here is Singapore. What is the capital of Singapore? Singapore only. Singapore से ऊपर जाओगे तो you will find another city that is Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur किसकी capital है? Kuala Lumpur. And then when you come to the mainland Asia, Myanmar, Southeast Asia, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. अभी mainland मत करना, अभी will come to this part only. Then we come to Brunei. Brunei is famous for what? What? क्या ban किया है? अच्छा क्रिसमस करना मना है. Brunei is famous for oil. Brunei is famous for oil. And what is the capital of Brunei? It is Bandar. नहीं है, वो बंदार है. Bandar means port. It is the Bandar Seri Bagwan. That is the port. And if you go उसके ऊपर, you will find Philippines. मिला Philippines? You go just to the north of it, you will find Philippines. And Philippines ka capital is Manila. Located on which island? You will find Manila is located on the नहीं मिला Luzon Island. Manila is located on the Luzon Island of Philippines. Philippines किसके लिए famous है? Asian Development Bank का headquarter is in Manila. Philippines is also famous for geography के हिसाब से pineapples. Philippines is one of the largest producers of pineapples in the world. And secondly, more very very important, वैसे तो ADB भी याद रखना, but Manila is famous for International Rice Research Institute. International Rice Research Institute. International Rice Research Institute. Two people are associated with International Rice Research Institute. One is Norman Borlaug and dusra is MS Swaminathan, the father of Green Revolution in world and in India. Yeah. International Rice Research Institute. Norman Borlaug. Norman Borlaug is the father of Green Revolution and his student was MS Swaminathan. So when in 1960s you will do in economy ki the focus of the first 5-year plan was agriculture. Suddenly the focus of second 5-year plan became industries. And third फिर से बन गया एग्रीकल्चर. सो इसके कारण क्या हुआ, नीदर एग्रीकल्चर का प्रॉपर डेवलपमेंट हुआ, नीदर इंडस्ट्रीज का. इनफैक्ट एग्रीकल्चर वेंट डाउन. यू विल डू नाउ इन मॉडर्न इंडिया कैसे ब्रिटिशर्स ने हमारे एग्रीकल्चर को एक कमोडिटीफाइड बना दिया था. लैंड बिकेम अ कमोडिटी. उससे पहले लैंड की सेलिंग नहीं होती थी. सो व्हेन दिस हैपेंड ऑब्वियसली देयर वाज अ डिक्रीज इन इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, जिसका आज भी रिपरकेशंस है. इवन टुडे द एग्रीकल्चर हैज नॉट बीन एबल टू कम अप. सो as a result of this, there was a lot of food problem in independent India. देखो, we lost many of the green part of India, that is the fertile plains of India, to Punjab region of Pakistan. Punjab is in India also, there is a Punjab in Pakistan also. We lost many fertile regions to Bangladesh. And our country was a young country which became free. This time खाने का बहुत ज़्यादा problem था, and after independence our population explosion हुआ था. There was a sudden increase in the population. So as a result of this, we did not have food. We used to depend on US or other government aids for food. So when Indira Gandhi went to USA, वहाँ का न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स का हेडलाइन था, अगेन इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर कम्स बेगिंग फॉर फूड विथ, एंड वहाँ पे कार्टून था बाउल इन हैंड. इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर इंदिरा गांधी का कार्टून विथ अ बाउल इन द हैंड. ऑब्वियसली इट वाज वेरी एम्बैरेसिंग. इससे पहले भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स को ऐसे कहा था, बट दिस बिकेम वेरी एम्बैरेसिंग एंड इट ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स अपॉन द पर्सन. यू मेक अ कार्टून ऑफ मनमोहन सिंह, ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. यू मेक अ कार्टून ऑफ मोदी, पॉलिसी विल चेंज. सो द सेम थिंग विल the same thing happened while there was an Indira Gandhi ka. So she was angered by this. She came back. She called MS Swaminathan. she called her agriculture minister, that is who was, am just not remembering, I guess it was Subramaniam something or Iyer, will come to that later on. And they decided to change the India's agricultural pattern. इसका फार्मिंग कैसे करेंगे हम एग्रीकल्चरल पैटर्न, इसका एक्सपेरिमेंट किया गया था इन द बंगलो ऑफ इंदिरा गांधी. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड उस टाइम के पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स और आज के पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स. सो इन द बंगलो ऑफ इंदिरा गांधी इन द बैकयार्ड, जो यहाँ पे म्यूजियम है, व्हाट इज नोन एज एन तीन मूर्ति भवन. व्हेन इट वाज सक्सेसफुल इट वाज अप्लाइड टू रीजन्स विच वर रिचर, पंजाब, हरियाणा, वेस्टर्न यूपी एंड आंध्र प्रदेश, तमिलनाडु. यहाँ पे फॉर व्हीट और वहाँ पे फॉर राइस. And suddenly in 2 years India from begging nation became a food exporting nation. And आज भी उस green revolution का impact है, because ये green revolution occurred in many developing countries but it was most successful in India. And because it was most successful in India, India became self-sufficient in food and we did not have to depend on PL 480 program of USA, जिसमें India was given a food which was meant for pigs और which was thrown into Gulf of Mexico. वो फूड देते थे हम, हमें इंडिया को वो फूड दिया जाता था और हम वो खाते थे. So that changed the India, and when India became self-sufficient on food, so उसके बाद many of the things changed. So जो प्राइम प्रेसिडेंट था यूएसए का और जो उसका सेक्रेटरी था, they were so scared of Indira Gandhi कि it is written in the autobiographies of those president. They started getting nightmares of Indira Gandhi. The president of USA started getting nightmares of Indira Gandhi. और उसको सपने आते थे कि she can destroy USA, she can destroy this region. And President Nixon. So President Nixon, and therefore उसके बाद इंडिया का इमेज चेंज हुआ. बट यू रिमेंबर, ये सब जब भी आप आगे करोगे और जो भी आज करंट अफेयर्स आप करते हो, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर विद द हेल्प ऑफ हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया. You should know history to know the future of India. That is, it is very easy to say कि हमने US से FDI लाए, अभी ट्रम्प आया, अभी ओबामा आया, गले मिले, etc. You have to know that international relations चलते हैं on the basis of, not on the basis of friendship or emotion. It is on the basis of practical utility. आज इंडिया की utility है US को, कल पाकिस्तान की थी. So Pakistan has now been thrown, dumped. अब India, and tomorrow maybe some other country like this. So this is how chart has gone. So this जब ये green revolution हुआ, because Asia was mainly dependent on rice, International Rice Research Institute was established at Manila. And Asian countries started to decide that they do not want to depend on the World Bank and the IMF, because आज भी देखना World Bank and IMF are controlled by USA and Western Europe. They are controlled by USA and Western Europe. They do not want to depend on these countries, and therefore Asian Development Bank, क्योंकि पैसे तो चाहिए finance के लिए. So if you can link this, facts याद करना बहुत आसान है. Why we have the Asian Development Bank in which year? 65 में क्यों है? Why we have International Rice Research Institute? क्योंकि 66 is the Green Revolution का area. So it resulted into the formation of an International Rice Research Institute, and then the same things was applied in India, and we will see उसके फायदे, उसके नुकसान. उसका नुकसान है आज, that is environmental degradation. उसका नुकसान है आज, that is increasing salinity in Punjab, Haryana and Western UP. उसका नुकसान है आज, that is increasing rate of cancers in India because of too much use of fertilizers and pesticides, especially in Punjab. People drink milk and they suffer from intestinal cancer. Then when the postmortem is done, उनका body is full of pesticides and insecticides. We will do that as an bioaccumulation, biomagnification. But उसके बहुत सारे फायदे भी हैं. So you should remember this, especially because again this year, Prime Minister Modi went there and he has introduced 2 new varieties of rice and wheat in this region. अब the focus of this region has come. That is, you look at how the developments will be happening. 1.5 साल पहले, ये दिसंबर की बात है, what I am telling, and ये पूरा लगेगा हमें मेंस में even after 1 year or 2 years. So now we have realized कि India is facing from protein deficiency, because after green revolution एक नुकसान हमारा ये हुआ, we became a rice and wheat eating population, and because of too much carbohydrates, India has world's largest patients of diabetes. ज़्यादा गेहूँ खाओगे तो डायबिटीज़ होगा. This is fact. It has now been proven. You have to eat pulses. You have to eat hard cereals like jawar, bajra. So the focus of this is now going in maize. It is now going in jawar and bajra. और फिर आता है आपके मेंस में क्वेश्चन, the year 2017 has been declared as an international year of pulses. Give the importance. What are the importance of pulses? Everything is related to, 16 was the question, came in 17. So everything is related here to this background. So you should remember the Manila from this angle. Fine with this? Up coming to the simple map based question, arrange the capitals of these countries from north to south. Countries नहीं पूछेंगे because there is no proper demarcation of boundaries. But capitals पूछेंगे. याद करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. If you know the simple fact, north to south. So I will start from south. Equator के नीचे जकार्ता. Nearest to the equator, Jakarta या सिंगापुर? Singapore is nearest to the equator. Singapore के just ऊपर another pur, that is Kuala Lumpur. उसके बाद बंदर सेरी बागवान, and उसके ऊपर is the Manila. And you can easily answer this. चाहे अब इसमें मनीला, कुआला, बंदर सेरी बागवान नहीं पूछा और इन्होंने यहाँ के दो कैपिटल्स पूछे, हानोई and the हो ची मिन सिटी. That is इनके किसी के दो के कैपिटल्स. Then also you know, अगर क्वेश्चन इज नॉर्थ टू साउथ या साउथ टू नॉर्थ, अगर नॉर्थ टू साउथ है क्वेश्चन तो आंसर में सिंगापुर, उस ऑप्शन को चुनना है जिसमें सिंगापुर एंड जकार्ता आर सबसे पीछे, या साउथ टू नॉर्थ को पूछा है तो यू उस ऑप्शन को चुनना है जिसमें जकार्ता एंड सिंगापुर इज सबसे पहले. With this you will be able to solve map based questions very easily. Very easy to remember the capitals of these countries from north to south or south to north. What you have to remember? Jakarta is in southern hemisphere. उसके बाद आता है equator. The city or the country which is nearest to the equator is Singapore. Jakarta is not nearer to the equator. Singapore is very near to the equator. उसके बाद we have Kuala Lumpur. After Kuala Lumpur we have Bandar Seri Begawan. After that we have Manila. Fine with this? रट लो आज ही क्लास में. That is, this is the arrangement of the cities from north to south. One more fact I am doing, though we will come to this fact again while doing climatology. Borneo Island is one of the most densely forested islands of the world, which is famous for a tribe which is known as Orang tribe or Orang people, Orang Asli tribe. Nowadays, yes, because green revolution has plateaued, so we have to focus on zero budget natural farming. सेम उस रीजन में मिलेंगे ही आपको ओरांग ट्राइब. दिस आर हंटर्स एंड फूड गैदरर्स ऑफ एशिया. प्रिमिटिव वल्नरेबल ट्राइबल ग्रुप में है ये ट्राइब. सो इसलिए ओरांग मत याद रखना, ओरांग असली मलेशिया. ओके, हंटर्स एंड फूड गैदरर्स है. फाइन विद दिस? नाउ this sea is always in news. What is the name of this sea? This is South China Sea. This is the South China Sea region. And you can see one major river goes into this South China Sea. कल ही हमने ये river की है. That is river Mekong. Mekong is the major river that will go into the South China Sea region. And on this river Mekong, आपको एक ब्लू कलर का बड़ा डिप्रेशन मिलेगा. That means it is a lake. And you will find the largest lake of Southeast Asia. मिला टोनलेस सैप? टोनलेस सैप लेक कंबोडिया में, कंबोडिया के ऊपर नहीं, कंबोडिया कंट्री है, कंबोडिया के अंदर you'll find toneless sap lake. How to identify lakes? The lake should be identified. This is blue in color. This is the largest lake of Southeast Asia, or those who are carrying ऑक्सफोर्ड, यू विल सी टोनलेस सैप लेक. जहाँ कंबोडिया लिखा है उसके जस्ट ऊपर यू विल फाइंड टोनलेस सैप लेक. टोनलेस सैप लेक, टोनलेस सैप लेक. ये मेरे को एक आंसर में ज़रूरत पड़ेगी इसकी, डेल्टास के आंसर में. इसकी ज़रूरत मुझे पड़ेगी अगेन इन एनवायरमेंट एंड इकोलॉजी. इसकी ज़रूरत हमें फिर से इंडियन ज्योग्राफी में करेगी व्हेन विल डू समथिंग नोन एज वाटर शेड. इसकी ज़रूरत हमें फिर से पड़ेगी दैट इज़ इन द राइपेरियन बफर व्हेन विल डू समथिंग नोन एज एन राइपेरियन बफर, बिकॉज टोनलेस सैप इज राइपेरियन बफर. राइपेरियन बफर मतलब अ बफर water body which acts as a buffer. How it acts as a buffer? Understand a simple word, no need of writing. The area of toneless sap lake, don't go by uska size in the atlas, is 3000 square kilometers. It is as 3000 square kilometers big. This region, Mekong is one of the mightiest rivers in the world, and this region gets very heavy rainfall. When it gets very heavy rainfall, toneless sap lake prevents floods in this region. Why? Because it takes up excess of water and becomes around 10,000 square kilometers in area. But again, after the floods, it will shrink in this region. So as a result, such lakes, we will come later on, no need of writing this word, we will call such areas as riparian buffers. Call these areas as riparian buffers. Toneless sap is one such riparian buffer. आज के लेक्चर के लिए सिर्फ इतना याद रखना, toneless sap is on which river and in which country. So which river? Mekong. And which country? Cambodia. Cambodia. Why this is because you see Cambodia etc. are densely populated, poor countries. Still floods उनसे इतना death result नहीं करती. That is, floods are not that devastating in Cambodia as compared to India. That is because they have not destroyed this riparian buffer. They have kept the riparian buffer as it is. और अगर ये इंडिया होता तो क्या होता? टोनलेस सैप लेक का एरिया और छोटा होता, आसपास एक तो स्लम्स आती या बिल्डिंग्स आती, एंड बिल्डिंग्स के नाम होते लेक व्यू अपार्टमेंट्स. सो एंड जब ये लेक व्यू अपार्टमेंट्स, व्हेनेवर देयर इज अ फ्लड बिलो द लेक, ग्राउंड फ्लोर में, फर्स्ट फ्लोर में पानी, जो कॉमन है इन मुंबई, जो कॉमन है आजकल विद द एक्सट्रीम डेवलपमेंट इन केरला. सो यू सी 23 people are losing their lives. Now it has increased to 29. So and remember, the tragedy is India experiences second largest number of deaths due to floods after Bangladesh. सबसे ज़्यादा deaths due to flood is Bangladesh, second number पे India. Don't consider इसमें deaths due to droughts, due to road accidents, due to air pollution. ये सब अलग है. So this and उसके साथ साथ loss of infrastructure etc. लॉस ऑफ इकोनॉमी. 2 दिन मुंबई बंद थी बिकॉज ऑफ फ्लड. इकोनॉमी को नुकसान हुआ 2200 करोड़ का, 2200 करोड़. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज द लॉस ऑफ इकोनॉमी. सो फाइन विद दिस एरिया, सुमात्रा, जावा, बाली. जावा इज एन दिस थिंग. नाउ इन दिस एंटायर रीजन, उसके बाद बोर्नियो आइलैंड. बोर्नियो इज शेयर्ड बाय 3 countries. आफ्टर दैट सिंगापुर, Kuala Lumpur, capital of Malaysia, Brunei, and Manila. Manila is famous for International Rice Research Institute. Will come that over the period of time you will see this International Rice Research Institute has introduced a variety of rice which is known as golden rice. Why golden rice? Because it is rich in vitamin A, that is, it is fortified in vitamin A. This is one area of map pointing. Then Cambodia. Mekong River drains into the South China Sea. कल हमने देखा कहाँ पे originate होती है, and it is coming so far. Connect that with the lack of syntaxial bend, because अगर syntaxial bend होता तो this river would have come to India. So this river is coming in the South China Sea, and this is entire Pacific Ocean, and this is Indian Ocean. And we have done this area Isthmus of Kra. To reduce the traffic in this region, there is a proposal to cut through the Isthmus of Kra. And the Cambodia. Cambodia is also famous for another architecture wonder. It is the world's largest temple, Angkor Wat Temple. Angkor Wat Temple is present in the Cambodia. Now the second map based questions. Before we go, understand there are some of the rocks which are very, very stronger. And these rocks which are very, very stronger, या lands which are very, very stronger, अगर कितना भी force है, तो there some parts may be deformed, while the other parts जो है, they may not become deformed. They will remain flat. For example, अगर hard rock है, this is an hard rock. So some, and therefore even if the force is there, uska some part will get deformed, some part will remain flat. Because of folding, uska height will increase. So this kind of landforms are which are not deformed. Iska example is Tibetan Plateau. Tibetan Plateau is not deformed because it is again one of the strongest rocks in the world. But aspas ka area have been deformed. Similarly, the other example of this is the region which is known as an Pamir knot. Not in China. So open the map of Asia. So in the map of physical Asia, page number 66, page number 66. So in this is a region जहाँ पे the central part has not been deformed, but बाकी का उसका edges have been deformed, and इसलिए गांठ जैसे लगता है. गांठ is known as knot. So गांठ has, जैसे this anywhere in the world, the knot का sides will be converted into mountains. But the central part है, वहाँ तक force गया ही नहीं, and therefore it will remain a plateau like a thing. So one of the knot in the world is an Pamir knot, and you will see that as region which is known as Pamirs. Mila physical geography में Asia, this is known as an Pamirs. Now you can see Pamirs is famous for, why it is known as knot, because from the Pamir knot, different mountains come out and radiate in different directions. And one of the mountain is, can I say Trans-Himalayas? Not Himalayas, but what come out is Trans-Himalayas. मिला Trans-Himalayas? उसके ऊपर which? कुनलुन शान. उसके ऊपर तीन शान, थोड़ा आगे दिया होगा तीन शान, एंड उसके ऊपर इज द अल्तुन शान. And then when you come to this part, you will find Hindu Kush, and so these are the mountains that originate out of the Pamir knot. ये याद रखना है, which are the mountains. Which does not originate is the Himalayas. Himalayas के थोड़ा साउथ में है. So these are the mountains that originate. Kunlun Shan, Altun Shan, Tain Shan is the region of China. Trans-Himalayas, India and China. Hindu Kush, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Suleiman, Pakistan. Some part of Central Asia, some part of Southeast Asia. Atlas में दिया है. Carry the atlas. Pamir Knot is which country? Look down in the political map. कौन सी कंट्री है? पामिर नाम की कंट्री नहीं है कोई. Is it China, Tajikistan or what? It is Tajikistan. It is Tajikistan. Wala region. Majorly it is Tajikistan. And Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, ये था पुराना USSR. So, and China. So what was the economy? Communism or capitalism? Communism. And इसलिए पामिर knot का highest peak is Mount Communism. Mila, Mount Communism. Mount Communism is the highest peak of the Pamir knot. We will ask you simple questions because there are only 2 knots in the world. So, एक ये knot है. Once we do this knot, we will go to the other knot. Yeah, this is the earlier Silk Route. This is the Karakoram Highway. This is the one road initiative which will go and going to the Central Asia. The same things. This is the old Silk Route. That is why in ancient India you will always come to this Hindu Kush region. So the person who could guard this Hindu Kush wala pass, there is one pass in this mountain, would rule Delhi. Those who could not guard the Hindu Kush, unka empires fell down. That is this region. So you'll see later on कि जब आप answers लिखोगे, Akbar knew this. He guarded this region. बाकी के people did not know this. Ashoka also could guard this region. तक्षशिला वो सब यही है. This entire region. We'll do in history. This is the region of Gandhar art. Can I go to the next part? So fine with the Pamir knot. So what are the mountains? Hindu Kush, Suleiman, Tain Shan, Altun Shan, Kunlun Shan and Trans-Himalayas. Can you tell me why the name Hindu Kush? हिंदुस्तान का बॉर्डर था. हिंदुस्तान मतलब क्या? What is Hindu? Why some people are known as Hindu. I also belong to that category. So why it is? Because these people used to live on the western side, eastern side of river Indus or Sindhu. The Greeks and the Persian could not spell S. They used to call S as H. So Sindhu became Hindu. So जो Indus के इस side है, that became Hindustan over the period of time. So that is why बाकी के religions and Hindu religion में फ़र्क है. बाकी के religion में एक ही भगवान है, यहाँ पे 33 कोटि भगवान है. आप जिसको मानते हो, जिसको follow, so अगर मंगलवार को आपको non-veg खाना है तो change the god. अगर Saturday को non-veg खाना है तो change the god. So it does not matter much. Yes, that is what I was saying. The next knot is come to the West Asia region. And you will find it difficult to note that, but it is known as Armenian knot. The Armenian knot. West Asia, that is this region, is the Armenian knot. Georgia, Armenia, etc. ये जो पूरा region है. And I told you dark brown मतलब क्या? It is, उसका height is greater. So this entire region is an Armenian knot, and from this Armenian knot you will find many mountains which are originating. नाम इनके change है as per UPSC का questions and this, because they have given you the new names of that place in the Turkish language, etc. UPSC will ask you the older names, so I am giving you the older names. So सबसे पहले this country is Turkey, जहाँ पे we have Anadolu or Anatolia mountains. Anatolia या Anadolu लिखा होगा वहाँ पे एक बड़े इसमें, but you will find the word Anadolu mentioned in this region. दूसरा mountain at the south of Turkey is what? Taurus mountains. What is the spelling? Taurus? Taurus mountains. So the Taurus mountains here. Then we will have here what is known as Elburz mountains. ये कौन सी country है? Iran. This is Turkey. Turkey, Iran. And नीचे we have Zagros mountains. Kuznets, हाँ एक ही है वो. Which is the sea here? Caspian Sea. And this is Black Sea. See, जब ये करोगे तो answers वैसे ही. You will remember that Iran touches the Caspian Sea. Turkey touches the Black Sea. Iran does not touch the Black Sea region. Iran touches which region? The Caspian Sea region. Then we have done, this region is the Persian Gulf wala region. Fine with this? Which one? These mountains? Not at all. Gulf of Kutch, it was a sea. This is a land. Gulf of Kutch was a sea which was filled up by the sediments. And because it was a sea, आज भी whenever there is a high tide, it becomes कीचड़ or marshy region. And when there is a low tide, water disappears. Therefore, you call this as a run. Run means marshy lands. Or whenever the sea comes up, it deposits white sand. So, इसलिए run of Kutch is famous for white desert, white sands. Why white sands? White sands नहीं है. It is the salt which is deposited. So fine with this, go home and keep on revising उसका map based questions. अब अगर कोई भी region है which comes in the news, for example ईरान का nuclear deal comes in the news again and again, तो वहाँ पे अस्फहान आएगा. So you should know where it is located, Asfahan. Anyways, you should know what is the capital of Iran, what is the capital of the countries. सारे countries की capital 186 countries की capital करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. Only those areas which are in the news या which have some geographical significance, they only will come for map pointing, not other areas. So one of the area is this. हमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें करनी है in this area. We'll again come to that while doing Lake Urmi Cube, while doing Red Sea, while doing Dead Sea, while doing the Persian Gulf, countries surrounding the Persian Gulf. ये सब रटा होना चाहिए. So over the period of time we will be coming and visiting this area. इस साल कैसे क्वेश्चन था? इस साल क्वेश्चन था कि जहाँ जहाँ बॉम्ब फटे थे वो सिटीज पूछी थी, बट अगेन फ्रॉम दिस रीजन. That is ISIS के, not directly की, but they had said, so they had asked you the cities that are associated. So simple. Again, they are not going out from this area, but ये हाथ के marks हैं. But that is what I want to tell you. You should never lose on such marks. ये हाथ के marks है. बाकी के marks आए ना आए we cannot know because cost benefit analysis यहाँ पे कम है, ज़्यादा है. कल्चर ऐसा पोर्शन है कि बहुत करने के बाद भी नहीं समझ में आता है कभी कभी. डिपेंड्स अपॉन आपको कौन पढ़ाएगा और कौन पढ़ा रहा है और आप क्या पढ़ रहे हो और आपका लक कैसा है. सो एग्जाम्पल हिस्ट्री में उन्होंने वही एरियाज पूछे जो हमेशा पूछते हैं, बट इस साल उन्होंने क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर पूछा. मतलब आपको नेक्स्ट टाइम जब आप पढ़ोगे तो आपको ये भी याद रखना है कि एरियाज तो वही है, बट यू शुड नो द डेट्स ऑल्सो, यू शुड नो द क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर ऑल्सो. एंड सी दिस वॉज द सेम पैटर्न दैट वॉज बिफोर 2013. 2012 तक ऐसे ही क्वेश्चन आते थे जो 2018 में आए हैं. दैट मीन्स यूपीएससी यू शुड नॉट जस्ट नॉट लुक एक साल पहले का पेपर या 2 साल पहले का पेपर, शुड लुक एट लीस्ट 10 ईयर्स का पेपर का ट्रेंड. एक साल पहले सारा करंट अफेयर्स पूछा तो 17 में करंट अफेयर्स ही करके गए एंड बोम्बार्डेड. सो 17 में थोड़ा बहुत करंट अफेयर इनसाइट से आया तो इस साल इनसाइट के पीछे ही लगे हैं. सो अगेन बोम्बार्डेड. ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. We have done this, that is the convergent plate boundaries. But at the other end of an convergent plate boundary is the divergent plate margins. or the divergent plate boundaries. And this obviously we now know because the oceanic crust is much thinner, it is the see the same diagram as sea floor spreading. क्या extra is diagram में? The mountains, the fold mountains, because sea floor spreading did not explain, did not talk about the fold mountains, but the plate tectonic theory is talking about the fold mountains. The two plates are moving away. So divergent plate boundary, it is here only. Examination, मैंने तो ये डायग्राम आपको समझाने के लिए I have made you this कि we have written कि जितना height of the Himalayas increases, उतना there is more sea floor spreading. Why? Because at the other extreme of an convergent plate boundary is always divergent plate boundary. You can make even only up to this in the examination. No need of making this the examination. And what happens in this? The magma or lava will come up. Which eruption? Fissure eruption. And then it will solidify to give rise to the mid-oceanic ridges. Can I continue? Where the rising limb of the convectional currents, where the rising limb of the convectional currents, where the rising limb of the convectional currents, rising limb of the convectional currents diverge, where the rising limb of the convectional currents diverge. Oceanic crust is broken, oceanic crust is broken and moves apart, oceanic crust is broken and moves apart, moves apart, apart, moves apart. Apart. You should consider thoda, that is what we can say, dialect in Hindi. थोड़ा तो ब्लैक सॉइल वाला मेरे में आएगा ही डायलेक्ट, महाराष्ट्र प्लाटू का थोड़ा. So you can, उसके बाद this is known as a divergent plate boundary. This is known as a divergent plate boundary. Known as divergent plate boundary. Following features are associated. Following features are associated मिड ओशियनिक रीजेस, मिड ओशियनिक रीजेस, उसके बाद फिशर वॉल्केनोस, फिशर वॉल्केनोस, and earthquakes, earthquakes and earthquakes. And something extra from the seafloor spreading is rift valleys, is rift valleys. Three things are associated with the seafloor spreading also, but यहाँ पे we have something extra which is known as an rift valleys. This is a separate topic in itself. What is known as rifting, what is known as fault, what is known as an faulting, etc. So I am not explaining this again. You know why fissure volcanoes, silent kind. You know what is the earthquakes. Now what is this rift valley? This area जो crack बना है, it is more like a valley and therefore we will call this as an rift valley. The process of formation of a crack is known as an fault. Is known as an fault. इसका example is the mid oceanic ridge. अब कल अगर क्वेश्चन आता है रिगार्डिंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ एक्सप्लेन वॉल्केनोज विद द हेल्प ऑफ प्लेट टेक्टोनिक थियरी, आपका आंसर शुड नॉट एंड ओनली एट कन्वर्जेंट प्लेट बाउंड्री, यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन इवन द डाइवर्जेंट प्लेट बाउंड्री. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट रिजल्ट्स इनटू द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द फिशर काइंड ऑफ इरप्शंस, एंड थ्रू दिस रिफ्ट वैली द मैग्मा विल राइज अपवर्ड्स. सो वन लाइन, द magma rises upwards, the magma rises upwards through fissure or rift, the magma rises upwards through the fissure or rift, next, as the earthquakes are comparatively less powerful, as the earthquakes are comparatively less powerful, therefore, tsunamis are not associated with divergent plate boundaries. Tsunami के लिए earthquakes are comparatively less powerful, less powerful. Therefore, tsunamis are not associated with divergent plate boundary. Tsunamis are not associated with divergent plate boundaries. Tsunamis तभी बनेंगे if on the Richter scale the magnitude crosses 8. तभी, उसके सिवा नहीं. यहाँ पे the power earthquakes are not that powerful. So इसलिए tsunamis यहाँ पे associated नहीं है. Just remember this. We will do that again in the chapter on tsunamis. Yes, only of volcano, because magma will come up. Magma, when it comes up, it will open up the earth. So earthquake. सुनामी तभी आता है, वही मैं कहा, सुनामी तभी आता है अर्थक्वेक का एक मिनिमम वैल्यू अगर क्रॉस हुआ तो. अर्थक्वेक स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम वन रिचर स्केल टू infinite. क्या कन्वेक्शनल करंट का क्या हो गया? क्लास के बाद पूछ लेना. सो earthquake is because of divergent plate boundary also. सुनामी के लिए एक देयर इज साइंस. सी दिस इज, ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर हो गया तो होगा कि नहीं. सुनामी के लिए इट इज़ अ साइंस. साइंस इज द रिलीज ऑफ एनर्जी शुड बी इन वर्टिकल मैनर, नॉट इन अ हॉरिजॉन्टल मैनर. सो यहाँ पे रिलीज ऑफ एनर्जी इज इन हॉरिजॉन्टल मैनर बिकॉज द प्लेट्स आर मूविंग इन हॉरिजॉन्टल मैनर. कन्वर्जेंट प्लेट बाउंड्री में द प्लेट्स मूव इन वर्टिकल मैनर. सो रिलीज ऑफ एनर्जी इज इन वर्टिकल मैनर एंड इसीलिए तभी अर्थक्वेक्स. यहाँ पे द रिलीज ऑफ एनर्जी इज इन हॉरिजॉन्टल मैनर. मैग्मा कहीं पे भी बाहर निकल के आ सकता है. मैग्मा में इतनी पावर नहीं है कि प्लेट्स को डाइवर्ज करे. कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स होने चाहिए. कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स आर वेरी बिग. ये पूरा अगर इफ आई वांट टू मेक अ कन्वेक्शनल करंट, दिस विल बी हाउ द कन्वेक्शनल करंट इज गोइंग. दिस विल बी वन कन्वेक्शनल करंट एंड यू कंपेयर द साइज ऑफ मैग्मा, वो बहुत ही कम है. मैग्मा विल ओपन अप द क्रैक्स बट इट विल नॉट कॉज द मूवमेंट ऑफ प्लेट्स. कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स विल कॉज मूवमेंट ऑफ द प्लेट्स. बनेंगे. कन्वर्जेंस में क्यों बन रहे हैं? प्लेट्स क्यों कन्वर्ज हो रही है? प्लेट्स क्यों कन्वर्ज हो रही है? बिकॉज कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स आर कन्वर्जिंग बिलो. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी विल से. इसीलिए प्लेट्स कन्वर्ज हो रही है. प्लेट्स क्यों डाइवर्ज हो रही है? बिकॉज द कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स आर डाइवर्जिंग फ्रॉम बिलो. अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस? Fine with this? Now, one more last point, that is, I guess we have written this, but still you should write in the examination. Some parts of the mid-oceanic ridges, project on the surface of the, or above the surface of water, not on, above the surface of water, forming islands. I guess we have written this already. The mid-oceanic ridge will keep on building up. अगर बहुत ज़्यादा volcanic eruption है, then it will come up. Example इसका is not. It has nothing to do with yes. Projection of नहीं इसका अलग. So इसका example is Icelandic plateau and the Greenland plateau.
So according to the sea from very slowly, one day even Greenland will be subjected under the Atlantic.
No. What is happening here? Magma is rising continuously and the layers and layers of magma will be built up. जब वो समंदर के ऊपर आएगा, then because this is basalt, it will flow for a greater distance and we will call this as an island. Example is Iceland or Greenland. अब after millions of years, this present day Iceland will come here and ultimately it will be subducted. वो तो होगा ही. Everything what you see here is only permanent as compared to the geological history. Everything will be changed over the period of time. After million of years, there will be again Pangea formed. Okay, this is cyclic process. सिर्फ Pangea अभी नहीं, this is a continuous process that Pangea is created and the Pangea is destroyed. It is created and destroyed many times. So अभी तो destruction इसमें चल रहा है. Again there will be formation of Pangea and फिर से there will be this thing, and it is all associated with mass extinction and creation of new lives. So this is a process, you know. Creation of Pangea and destruction of Pangea ये चलता रहेगा over the period of time. सिर्फ continents बदलते रहेंगे. Fine with this? So island arcs, convergent plate boundary. अगर vast island है like plateaus तो divergent plate boundaries. Why plateaus? पहले यहाँ पे, now it is moving, so as a result can I say the basalt is spreading, and as a result of this Iceland or Greenland plateau. अब Greenland क्यों? Iceland is made up of basalt, black. Basalt, if it undergoes metamorphism over the period of time, it will form a green stone. And Greenland has undergone metamorphism. Metamorphism ये rocks में अलग topic है. And basalt has now become green stone, olivine. And olivine is ग्रीनलैंड. ये थोड़ा टेक्निकल हो जाएगा, अभी नहीं समझ में आएगा, बाद में यू विल अंडरस्टैंड दिस प्रोसेस. एनी डाउट इन द डाइवर्जेंट प्लेट बाउंड्री? फाइन विथ दिस? Yes, ask. Olivine rocks are found in? Yeah, olivine rocks are found in mantle.
So olivine will be converted into basaltic.
Basalt will be over the period of time converted into olivine. Don't understand it now, you will not understand this abhi. Just try to understand this kind of an plate boundary. So this is one plate. If I want to show unka direction, can I say this is the direction of this plate? And this is the direction of this entire plate, right? यहाँ पे the direction is of this plate, which we are drawing now, is convergence. So I am rubbing this part. So this is a convergent boundary, right? Now there can be, ऐसा तो ज़रूरी नहीं इतने एक ही plate है. There are numerous minor and major plate boundaries. So there can be one more plate in this region, and I am making this plate a very big plate here. So this is the next plate which we are going to study. Now in this plate जो है, let us consider इसका hypothetical direction is in this way. It is moving in this direction. Fine. So what is happening as compared to the boundary of this and this plate? Convergence है, divergence है, या दोनों नहीं है? दोनों नहीं है. They are moving parallel to each other. इसका and इसका कैसा है movement? Again parallel to each other. That is, but in the same direction. अब ये तो नहीं होगा कि this plate and this plate will decide कि हम दोनों एक ही speed से जाएंगे. तो उनका speed will differ, उनका size differs, उनका density differs, and हमने जितनी इतनी smooth boundary बनाई है, this is not the case in real life. The boundaries are irregular. And therefore, if the boundaries are irregular, some projections of an island may get stuck into each other, और जब force बढ़ेगा तो there will be sudden release. So such kind of an boundary which occurs when the plates move parallel to each other in the same direction या in the opposite direction is what is known as an transform plate boundary. So this is an example of an transform plate boundary. So यहाँ पे also this is a transform plate boundary. यहाँ पे also this is a transform plate boundary. Example, North American plate and the Pacific plate are converging, but एक छोटा plate है, we have done that, Cocos plate, and this Cocos plate and the North American plate is an example of an transform plate boundary. San Andreas fault system. So maybe this plate is converging with some other plate, but in दोनों का how it is? In comparison, this is what is known as a transform plate boundary. Getting it? Transform plate boundary. Everyone understanding what is a transform plate boundary? या अभी भी doubts है? What is transform plate boundary? The plates move parallel to each other. Now there is one plate here, second plate here, third plate here. In दोनों का movement is convergence. In दोनों का movement is divergence. Imagine an hypothetical situation कि there is one more plate here, and this is a very long plate which is moving in the right hand side, which is moving in this particular direction. So it is neither converging here, neither diverging here. It is neither converging here nor diverging here. It is neither converging nor diverging here. So such kind of a plate boundary may be in the opposite direction or maybe in the same direction, but the two plates are moving parallel to each other is what is known as a transform plate boundary. कैलिफोर्निया में अगर आप जाओगे तो you will see there are numerous areas जहाँ पे this San Andreas fault is so famous and so powerful कि वहाँ पे खेत है ओरिजिनल और उन्होंने फिर लोगों को दिखाने के लिए वैसे रखा है. दिस इज योर इमेजिन यू आर अ फार्मर हियर, यू हैव एन ओरिजिनल फार्म दिस वे, ये किसी और का खेत है एक्सेट्रा, बट अब द सैंड कोकोस प्लेट हैज मूव्ड एंड सो आपका खेत ऐसे हो गया. They have conserved it to show how the plate has moved. So your half of the field and half of the field. Roads भी ऐसे है कैलिफोर्निया में. They have conserved it. जब रोड बनाया एक single road. Over the plate San Andreas fault has moved. So half road is here and half road is there. घरों के fences भी बहुत जगह ऐसे है. Half fence is here, half fence is here. क्योंकि नीचे क्या था? Plate boundary थी. So therefore, we do San Andreas fault as an best example of this region. So the transform plate boundary, making this diagram obviously will be difficult. So what is the best diagram? Best diagram is so transform plate boundary occurs when the two plates move parallel to each other in the same or opposite direction. As the plates move, there is release of large amount of energy. And hence the transform boundaries are associated with very powerful earthquakes. They are also associated with faults and rift valleys. Example is the San Andreas fault system. And second example is Great East African Rift Valley. Fine with this? So that is the end of plate tectonics. And आपको देखो, you must have realized which is very very important out of all the three boundaries, convergent. So इसलिए our material on the convergent boundary is also larger. उसके बाद sea floor spreading से क्या लिया गया? The divergent plate boundary, and they identified one more plate boundary, that is the transform plate boundary. And therefore today the plate tectonic theory is considered as the best theory because it explains everything. Why volcanoes, why volcanic mountains, why plateaus, why some of the regions will have mountains, तो fold mountains, क्यों नहीं है volcanoes, क्यों है rift valleys, कहाँ पे है graben, etc. And देखो how it explains the other things also is जहाँ पे steep है slope ज़्यादा, obviously वहाँ पे there will be landslides. There will be, and steepness of the slope will be again explained by with the help of an plate tectonic theory. So these are the three theories we have completed. Fine with this? Keep on revising this part again and again, and एक बार ये part हो गया, now we come to the easier part of geomorphology, which is nothing but an application part of the entire thing what we have studied. So ask question.
After formation of Rift Valley, convection cells become inactive.
Not necessarily.
So what happens after the formation of Rift Valley?
The convectional cells may remain active or they may become inactive, but we actually do not know how the convectional cell behave. So we don't have any idea why the convectional cells are there, why they are active at some places, why they become inactive. We have yet to reach to that technology where we can understand the convectional cells. That is why what I said yesterday. If you understand the convectional cells, you can predict earthquakes. We do not understand the convectional cells. नहीं नहीं, जहाँ पे माउंटेन्स है वहीं पे लैंडस्लाइड्स के चांसेस है. माउंटेन्स क्यों है? लैंडस्लाइड्स तो कभी प्लेन एरियाज में आएगा नहीं. इट विल ऑकर ओनली इन द माउंटेनियस रीजन. So that is why it is considered the best theory. It tells the relief features. Relief features एक बार पता है तो उसके ऊपर we can judge कि कहाँ पे कौन सा areas है, कहाँ पे volcanic eruption होने वाला है, कहाँ पे landslides होने वाले हैं. Because landslide is what? Just a trigger mechanism. Trigger है steep slope, trigger है volcanic eruption, trigger है earthquake. उसका effect is landslide. Now we come, have you realized one thing, that there are numerous things which are happening below the earth? Convectional currents hai. Convectional current is causing the plate movements, it is causing the rise of magma, lava, it is causing the mountains to be formed. Kyun mountains to be formed? Because there is a convergence and there is a formation of an fold mountains. It may also result into formation of volcanic mountains. This is how the magma is coming from below the earth. If this is the earth wala part, this is how the magma is coming. After the magma, it comes up, it flows. Next layer, it comes up, it flows. Third layer, it comes up, it flows, but it is not flowing for a greater distance and it is solidifying. So ye ban gaya volcanic mountain. On the other hand, if the magma comes and flows for a greater distance, it flows for a greater distance. So this becomes volcanic plateau. So this, can I say, all these processes are originating from inside the earth, right? Now after the mountains are formed, इनकी height उतनी रहेगी या इनकी height will keep on decreasing? Increasing, decreasing what? Young fold mountains are increasing. So they can increase अगर नीचे से forces are coming. But imagine a condition that no force is there from inside. What will happen? Their height will keep on decreasing. Aravallis. Who is decreasing their height? Erosion. From where erosion is occurring? Why erosion is occurring? Environmental factors. कौन कर रहा है erosion? River, glaciers, winds do they do erosion? Yes. So winds, ये सारे forces can I say they are coming from outside the earth? So we are coming to the, and weathering is very different from erosion. Don't mix this two things. So we are coming to a part that is what is known as Earth's movements. That is, this is a next topic, or what are known as Earth's forces. Earth's movements or the Earth's forces. Now, Abhi, you told me that there are two kinds of forces. एक तो which comes from inside the earth, the other which comes from outside. So can I classify this earth movements into two types? One which comes from inside the earth is known as endogenetic. Endo means inside. Genetic means जहाँ से origin हो रहा है. Movements या forces, you can use both the words. And the other, can I say they will be exogenetic movements or the forces. Exo means outside. So there are endogenetic forces, there are exogenetic forces. So, am I right or wrong? Constructive forces, because they build mountains, or relief features. Mountain is just one relief feature. They build plateaus. Destructive forces, because they lower the height of the things that are being built. So remember, endogenetic forces are known as constructive forces. Why constructive forces? Because they help in building the relief features on the surface of the earth. And exogenetic forces are known as destructive forces. Why destructive? Because they lower the height of the surface of the earth. Wait, let me complete. This lowering of the height of the surface of the earth, therefore we will call them as the forces of denudation. We will call them as the forces of denudation. Why? Because they cause the lowering of the height. Now, what kind of endogenetic movements are there? Is earthquakes, volcanoes? Now suppose, is the Indian plate going below the Eurasian plate अभी भी? Yes. So आज रात को हम सोने जाएंगे, कल हम mountains के ऊपर मिलेंगे या plain ही होगा? There will be plain. Why? Because these forces are of two types. Some of the forces are so slow that we cannot experience those forces, and these forces, the slow forces, are known as diastrophic forces. Or what is known as diastrophism. Diastrophism means very slow movement. And some of these forces are sudden or catastrophic forces. Coming to the diastrophic forces. this diastrophic forces can be further classified on the area they are influencing. If they are influencing the entire landmass of a very big landmass, they are known as epirogenetic forces. But if we are studying them only from the process of building a mountain, they are known as orogenetic forces. Oro means mountain and genetic means origin. So epirogenetic matlab continent building forces. Orogenetic matlab mountain building forces. Give me a minute. So they are ओरोजेनेटिक या एपिरोजेनेटिक. अब यू ओनली टेल मी जीएस में कौन सा नहीं होगा. कॉन्टिनेंट्स पढ़ोगे, कैसे कॉन्टिनेंट्स बने, कैसे डिस्ट्रॉय हुए. ऑब्वियसली हमें इस पर फोकस नहीं करना है. यहाँ पे हमारा डेफिनेशन ख़त्म हो गया. अगर इसको पढ़ने की इच्छा है तो ज्वाइन, ऑप्शनल. अगर नहीं है तो कोई ज़रूरत नहीं, बिकॉज ये फिर अलग इसमें जाएगा. इरोजन सरफेसेस, डेन्यूडेशन क्रोनोलॉजी, वो सब. सो ऑब्वियसली थैंकफुली जीएस में यहाँ तक ही है, ओरोजेनेटिक फोर्सेस. बट स्टिल आई एम गिविंग यू अ बैकग्राउंड ओनली फ्रॉम द जीएस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. एपिरोजेनेटिक फोर्सेस, कॉन्टिनेंट्स का हाउ दे आर अफेक्टेड. So these are affected by either emergence of an entire landmass or submergence of an entire landmass. Literally it does not mean कि पूरा का पूरा landmass has gone below the sea or someone has lifted it from sea. It means कि अगर ice age था तो the water got locked in ice and इसीलिए some of the landmass which was below the water was exposed. Or therefore we will call them as the emergence of an landmass. और folding से किसी landmass की height ऊपर हो गई, so that is an emergence. Submergence, that is टूट गया कोई landmass and it has went below the sea. Example I told you, western coast of India. Second example of submergence, after the end of Pleistocene ice age, suddenly ice got converted into water and water went in different directions and therefore most of the landmasses went below the sea. यही हम इंडियन ज्योग्राफी में करेंगे, बट उसके नाम अलग होंगे. खादर एंड बांगर, दैट इज द फ्लड प्लेन्स. प्लीस्टोसिन आइस एज का द एंड न्यू आइस एज का. ऑल द थिंग्स इन इंडियन ज्योग्राफी विल बी एंड पार्ट ऑफ हियर एप्लीकेशन. सो द एपिरोजेनेटिक फोर्सेस, द कॉन्टिनेंट बिल्डिंग फोर्सेस, अभी सिर्फ इतना याद रखना, दे आर टू टाइप्स, दैट इज इमर्जेंस and submergence. Emergence and submergence. Emergent, what has emerged? Example is east coast of India. Eastern coast of India is an example of an emergent coastline. What has submerged is the western coast of India. Is the western coast of India. Western coast of India is submerged below the sea. I guess you know the difference between Western Ghats and Western coast. Eastern Ghats and Eastern coast, दोनों अलग है. I had faced a problem in the previous batch. They thought that Eastern Ghats and Eastern coast is same. Nahi. This mountain is Western Ghats and this is an Western coast. These mountains are Eastern Ghats and this is an example of an Eastern coast. Okay, so Eastern coast is emerged, Western coast is submerged. Ghats mountains नहीं है, mountain से लेना देना नहीं है इसका. Fine with this? अब this orogenetic forces which we are going to study from the GS point of view, वैसे ये उतनी ही है, are of two types. One is folding and the other is faulting. Folding of a landmass and the faulting of a landmass. Folding and faulting एक अलग है. Now this will explain your doubts of Indo, Sangpo, Suture zone, etc. That is an example of an faulting. Rift Valley क्या है? What is Horst? What is Graben? What is a block mountain? So what do you mean by monoclinal fold, isoclinal fold, etc. Syncline क्या है? Antisyncline क्या है? Etc. Catastrophic forces, very sudden forces. So you will not rise up on the top of a mountain. अगर Indian plate आज रात को नीचे जाती है, but there will be an earthquake. So catastrophic forces are those forces which human beings can experience in their lifetime, and they are earthquakes and volcanoes. They are the earthquakes and volcanoes. जब भी हम earthquakes करेंगे तो क्या? Tsunamis. जब भी हम tsunami करेंगे, tsunami disaster management in India. Understanding this? Volcanoes जब हम करेंगे, this is how our classes will progress. जब ये हम chart खत्म करेंगे in detail, that is the end of geomorphology. So this is how our each and every chapters will be. Chapter of folding, chapter of faulting, chapter of earthquakes, chapter of volcanoes. Landforms, सिर्फ इसमें एक नहीं है, that is rocks. Then the exogenetic forces, that is which cause the lowering of height, they are also known as denudational forces. So the denudation is divided further into two types. One is weathering and the other is erosion. One is weathering and erosion. Weathering, इतना याद रखना, as such, अभी एक word, it is an in situ process. Erosion is a dynamic ex situ process. In situ का मतलब at the same place, in the same place. Ex situ at some other place. Now what is weathering and erosion? Weathering के साथ साथ will be doing weathering and mass movement or mass wasting. And erosion, ex situ. Now, to tell you very in a simple words what is weathering and erosion के बीच का difference is, take an example this. You take a drilling machine and after taking a drilling machine, drill this wall. So when you drill this wall, क्या होगा? The particles will come out. They are known as sediments. So these particles, when they come out, will they stay in the air or will they fall down? Why they are falling down? Due to gravity. So when they fall down, they will remain at this place unless जब तक आप room साफ नहीं करते, right? So the process in which the sediments remain at the same place is known as weathering. This is an weathering. Taking a drilling machine and the particles, sediments break and they remain in the same place unless they are removed. And they can move. Why they are coming down? Because of gravity. But अगर मैंने drilling machine इस नीचे के tiles पे किया तो they will not even fall. वो उधर ही रहेंगे. So that is weathering. And unless if there is at a greater height, this particles start falling down due to gravity, they are known as mass movement. Mass movement मतलब कुछ नहीं, in simple words. इसका one example is landslides. Landslides. Therefore, we say that it is an in situ process. उसमें what is not involved? Transportation is not involved, except under the influence of gravity. और सिर्फ gravity से हो रहा है transportation, it is known as mass movement. Mass movement का example is landslide. अगर landslide is occurring in the regions जहाँ पे snow है, avalanche. If it is occurring due to very heavy rainfall, soil flow, solifluction, mud flow, liquefaction, that is, these are the topics which we are going. Landslides करते ही landslide disaster management in India. Which parts of India are prone to landslides? Identify the different reasons for landslides in Himalayas and Western Ghats. One of the reason for landslide in the Western Ghats, you know, Kerala. क्यों हो रही landslide? Very heavy rainfall. One reason for landslide in Himalayas, you already know. क्यों? Earthquakes. So that is the distinction. Now, what is erosion? Erosion, particles have been broken, the rocks have been made weak. अब मैं झाड़ू लेता हूँ, उसको उठाता हूँ और उसको जाके डिपॉजिट करता हूँ डस्टबिन में. ट्रांसपोर्टेशन इज इन्वॉल्व, दैट इज इरोजन. वर्ल्ड में कौन करेगा? झाड़ू क्या है? रिवर्स, विंड्स, ग्लेशियर्स. कहाँ पे जाके डिपॉजिट करेंगे? इन द सी. In the sea. So erosion involves transportation by agents of erosion. And what are these agents of erosion? These agents of erosion are rivers, winds, glaciers. And they will result into winds, rivers will result into दो kind of landform, fluvial topography or fluvial landform. Because river, when it is blowing in an area, which is going in an area, it is very different from deserts, and therefore अगर वो rock को तोड़ेगी तो इसका shape will be different as compared to the जब winds are operating as compared to the glaciers are operating, and therefore we have different landforms, fluvial landforms. Or if the rivers are operating in the regions जो limestone से बना है, karst topography. Winds, डेजर्ट लैंडफॉर्म जिसको हम कहेंगे एओलियन लैंडफॉर्म्स. डेजर्ट का लैंडफॉर्म विल बी वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द विंड का लैंडफॉर्म बिकॉज मैटर ही डिफरेंट है, एजेंट डिफरेंट है. एंड ग्लेशियर्स, ग्लेशियल लैंडफॉर्म्स. So except for what I have written in colors, बाकी सब is important for mains and prelims. Thankfully, landforms are coming only in the preliminary examination. V-shaped valleys, U-shaped valleys. That is, ये है part only for prelims. This is not asked in the main examination. This is only asked in the preliminary examination. So ये सिर्फ हम prelims के point of view से करेंगे. उसमें से भी the fluvial topography is more important. Baki ka things are not asked in this region. Folding not that important. Faulting is important. Obviously, what I told you, emergence is not important. Epirogenetic forces are not important. Epirogenetic forces are not important. Earthquakes, volcanoes are important. Weathering is very, very important. We find a question on weathering hamesha in the main examination. Mass movement, landslides pe haan question. And erosion is not at all important. X for mains, but it is very, very important for prelims. So we find a question in the preliminary examination. जब भी हमारा chart खत्म, our geomorphology ends. Okay, so we'll meet with the next feature, that is the folding and faulting. Okay, so thank you.